Okay, so last but not least is community. I promised you we'd wake you up after lunch, and here it comes. Community, as I mentioned earlier, is really you. The folks in this room are a lot of the leaders in the community. So it's not some abstract thing. It's basically access to all of the knowledge that's in this room. Autodesk is investing in community. We're investing in building our own infrastructure, like AutoCAD Plan Exchange. I'm going to give you the URL a little later. But we're also investing in reaching out to existing communities. It's not a new thing, this plant design. There are existing communities out there. And we've reached out to them really to listen and help us build better products. So to give us a little bit of knowledge on that is Dave Tyner on his on his $400 scooter, apparently. So please help me welcome Dave Tyner from DaveTyner.com.
Thank you, Robert. So I'm Dave. Hello. A couple things about me. My very lovely wife and I have 3 very beautiful children. I love to make movies, and I love movies about zombies, but more appropriately, I am a plant design software administrator for one of the world's largest EPC companies, and I'm the founder of DaveTyner.com. So what is DaveTyner.com? Well, that's a great question. So DaveTyner.com is a plant design community website where people come from all over the world to freely exchange ideas and information on a number of plant design software platforms, free of charge, 24 hours a day. Our members have amassed what has to be the largest multi-platform plant design software knowledge base in the world. And as the site has grown from 1 user and 1 post 7 years ago to now 2,000 users and 20,000 posts, I really had a chance to get to know a lot of the members, and many of us have become very good friends. Some of them are here today. And over time, we have formed a group that we now affectionately call the Crusty Crew. All right, so believe it or not, that's very relevant to this story, and I'm going to tell you how, but I sort of have to take you all the way around. But when we get there, I assure you it's going to be, it will have been worth the trip. Okay, so that's Dave Tyner. So that's Dave Tyner. So then we have Autodesk, right? I mean, Autodesk, who practically invented the CAD world that most of us grew up in. I mean, these guys are the best in the business, and they just keep making amazing software year after year after year. And that's really no accident, right? I mean, they've always been a very forward-thinking company. And I'll tell you why I think that, but I have to set it up a little bit. So as the DaveTyner.com knowledge base was growing from 1,000 to 5,000 to 10,000 posts, every year I'd send emails to the other plant software makers just saying, hey, you're invited to come participate in our community, which is more or less your community too. And maybe a link from my site to your site and your site to my site, and we'll do this whole community thing. It'd be really great. But do you know that in 7 years, I received 1 reply back from 1 company, and that reply went something like this: Dear Dave, thanks, but no thanks. So then imagine my shock when I not only get a phone call from Autodesk, but I get a knock at my front door. Literally, that guy right there, he came to my home in Highlands Ranch, Colorado, and we sat down in my living room. We had this really great conversation about the plant design industry and where it was going, and he told me where he thought Autodesk fit into that, and I told him where I thought DaveTyner.com fit into that. And it turns out what they really wanted to do was leverage this whole group of experts that had come together on our site to help them make their software better. And I remember thinking that finally, here's a company that really wants to understand the scope of the needs of all the users, and they have the forethought to recognize that in order to do that, that they have to step outside themselves and their own sphere of knowledge, which, as we all know, that can be a pretty intimidating thing to do. So now knowing this, it came as little surprise to me recently when Autodesk presented a group from my website, the Crusty Crew, so we're back, with the unique opportunity to create a plant using the entire Autodesk Plant Design Suite. So at a time when other plant software makers are seemingly very disconnected from their external communities, here's Autodesk that's not only reaching out, right, but they're listening to the needs of the entire community. And doing that is not only going to make the entire community stronger, but it's going to make great software even better. I mean, how can it not? So like I said, they offered us this project. We wholeheartedly accepted, and Project X was born. So a little bit about the scope of Project X. It was created to be a large data set for Autodesk to benchmark their Plant 3D software against. So unless you have a jetpack to get to some of the hand valves or actually want to vent ammonia to atmosphere, I suggest you don't actually try to build it. All right, so that said, let's look at some of the numbers. 15 people total, 6 people to create 44 P&IDs, and 9 people to create 20 3D models in 15 areas, consisting of about 1,000 pipe runs, a couple thousand inline components and instruments, and a couple hundred pieces of equipment. So that's no big deal, right? I mean, maybe that's a small job for some of you. Maybe it's even a medium-sized job for others. But let's take a look at some of the real-world challenges we faced during this project. So first of all, like the distributed work environments of today, we were scattered all over North America. So Alaska, Washington, Colorado, Texas, Tennessee, Louisiana, Alabama. We had a guy in Chicago. We had 3 people in Calgary, 1 person in Edmonton. But unlike an actual company, right, we had no dedicated infrastructure. So no Citrix servers, no VPNs, no dedicated networks, nothing like that. And third, we're all smart plant and auto plant designers and administrators, none of whom had used the AutoCAD Plant 3D or AutoCAD P&ID software before. So obviously these presented some very significant but very real-world challenges for us. But if that's not enough for you, now let's factor in that the whole project had to be created in our spare time, right? Obviously we have day jobs. We could not do it then. So after we get home, have dinner, put the kids to bed, maybe read them a story, then we get to come down and start working on the project, which I can tell you, our spouses thought Project X was a very appropriate name for it. Love you. Okay, so let's put it all together. So now we have this 44 P&ID, 20 3D model, and 15 areas project that needs to be set up, standardized, and then executed by 15 people in 2 countries in their spare time, using software they had never used before, with no dedicated infrastructure. Oh wait, did I forget to tell you? 2 weeks. We had 15 days from the start to do this project. This project is very successful, and I'm going to talk about that after I show you the supremely awesome video that I made, created by 15 of the most supremely awesome people that I have the pleasure to have known. So I present to you Project X. Thank you. All right, so that was pretty cool. So let's talk about why Project X was so successful. First of all, leveraging really great communication. And I really think the way my friend, there he is, Joel Harris, who is in the audience and who was a team leader on Project X, put it when he said, we leveraged the DaveTyner.com and Plan Exchange forums so that no single individual had to rely solely on their own experience. We have grown so symbiotic using information sharing as a tool to getting our jobs done on a day-to-day basis that we simply carried that relationship into the project. Well said, Joel. Thank you. Second, easy-to-use software. Obviously, the familiarity of the AutoCAD interface was a huge help. And being built on top of AutoCAD, Plant 3D and P&ID contain most, if not all, of the same functionality. And being able to leverage that functionality was key in a fast-track project like this one. Information sharing, using Buzzsaw. And I think the way my friend Brian Lister, who is also in the audience and was another team leader on the project, put it best when he said, what did you say, Brian? Given the distributed nature of the project and the inherent lack of infrastructure, a light, easy-to-use, yet robust solution for file sharing and version control was necessary. Buzzsaw provided that solution. Buzzsaw was key in getting this project done on time and on target. Buzzsaw was awesome. Thanks, Brian. All right, and obviously leveraging the individual strengths of everybody on the team. Where some people fell short, others picked up the slack, and I can assure you, in the last weekend of that project, we were killing it, and everybody stepped up, and they did a great job. So that's it for me. I'm going to close out. I really want to thank such an amazing company for giving such an amazing group of individuals this really amazing opportunity to show our stuff. So thanks, everybody.
All right, I'm going to use Dave's word, amazing. Next time someone asks me what I do for a living, I'm not going to say, well, it's a piping and process. I'm going to just show them that video and be like, you know what? Beat that. Not a sexy cyborg or whatever that thing was, but that's cool. That's cool. That's amazing. All right, so let's just recap this, right? I mean, it's pretty amazing. 40 P&IDs, 13 3D models, almost 10,000 piping components, structural items, 14 orthos. We're turning out ISOs so far, 124 of them so far. 2 weeks, 15 people in their spare time with software they never used. That just, when does that happen? We challenged them with this goal, and they took it and they said go. So, quick round of applause for the Krusty crew. Many of them are here. And, it's been a tremendous experience, I think a lot of ways you look at that, and the music, and cinematography, and all this. And by the way, Dave is almost like Autodesk embodied. By day, P&IDs, systems. By night, video games, Treadster, making characters, walking things, movies. It's amazing. Dave is an amazing guy. But in a lot of ways, Project X is extreme. Look at all that, the numbers, the time. But it's also every day, right? One of the things that Dave said was, in one of the rehearsals was, this is like any other project. It was 2 weeks behind. We haven't had the kickoff meeting, right? Everything's fast track. You got to get concept out like that in weeks or days to get a job. This is every day. We hear this all the time. Budgets are tighter. Timelines are shorter. Everything's a fast track. Can't find people. When I can find them, I can't move them. When I got an expert, he's in Costa Rica. He only works Tuesdays. I can't do this. It's like it is. This is what you're